Welcome into the KC Soccer Report. I'm Gerald Bentley here on Sports TV Plus. We're breaking down Sporting Kansas City falling to DC United. The Kansas City Current getting ready to open the season up for the third straight year against the Portland Thorns. That's going to happen at the stadium over my shoulder, CPKC Stadium on the riverfront of Kansas City, right downtown. And Sporting Kansas City getting back at it at Children's Mercy Park, going up against Minnesota United, the Loons coming into town. We'll start off with Sporting Kansas City. It's obviously been a tough start to the season. Across competition, they're now 0-5. You kind of knew this was coming because the team's really gone through a significant rebuilding effort, focusing the offense now on Dejan and Manu Garcia and Shapi Suleimanov, the three big acquisitions that came in. New position for Eric Tomey as he's playing up front, basically taking the position of Johnny Russell and also taking that captain's armband. So you're getting a lot of turnover, and you know when you change that much on the team, it's going to be hard to have the chemistry. It's going to be hard to knit possession between the lines. You saw a little bit better possession in the second half against DC. We'll start off by listening to Eric Tomey talking about that game. It was a 2-1 defeat. Tomey did score his first goal of the season in a losing effort. Here's Eric after the game talking about some of the challenges that Sporting faces, and of course looking forward to that game against the Minnesota Loons coming up this Saturday.
Eric, if you could just give your thoughts on the way the game played out for you guys tonight and kind of how you guys ended up with the scoreline that you did.
Let's start with the first half. I think we were pretty good defending-wise. Tried to create some opportunities up in front. Didn't get too close to the goal, but had some really good chances. At the end, 0-0. Halftime, we came strong out of it, scored immediately, and then gave up two easy goals with the PK, and the second one was there number 6, getting it between our defenders and get a free header. So at the end, really tough start so far for us, unfortunately, but we'll keep working and turn everything around.
On your goal, just kind of how did you see that play line up? I feel like, if I remember correctly, you're the one who plays that ball out to Shapi to jumpstart that situation. What are you thinking as you're making that run into the box?
Yeah, I think you saw it right. I changed the side. I switched the sides to Shapi. Who was free over there, wide open, and tried to get around the box. Was a good cross from Jake, I guess, and I scored. Was definitely something what we trained throughout the week. But at the end, we're still sitting here with 0 points. That matters at the end, and we're really disappointed right now.
The next question will go to Thad Bell with the Kansas City Soccer Journal. Thad, your line is open.
Eric, sorry for the result, but a good goal through the run of play. Are you starting to see the front five maybe starting to gel, getting to know each other a little bit better?
I think it was a step in the right direction when we saw the game. The way we played also, like I said, even in the first half, we were really close, like one last pass, one step. If you're cleaner up in front, we could create more and score maybe earlier. I think there's a progression, but at the end, it needs to be a progression of all of us. And even if we lost today, I can see everyone is fighting, everyone is working hard, also in the training sessions, and that's what matters, and it will pay off on long term. And we need to do it next week again. Have the chance at home and keep working hard because you can turn around things so quick in soccer, and we keep our heads up for sure.
Next question will go back to Daniel Sperry. Daniel, your line is open again.
You mentioned on that second goal, you got the midfielder kind of jumping in with a late run there. Just What did you see from that play, and kind of where does the communication go wrong there to leave that player unmarked there in the box?
I haven't seen the goal yet, but what I can say is, to communicate something so quick is sometimes impossible throughout the game. So you need to be alert, and if a midfield jumps in between our defenders, we need to cover him or cover them and help them. We didn't. At the end, that's something we need to improve and do it better next time.
Mentioned there's been a lot of turnover this year with Sporting Kansas City. They added the 3 impact acquisitions in Dejan, Manu, and Shoppy, but they also acquired in the Super Draft a defensive player, Jansen Miller. He is this #1 draft pick for Sporting Kansas City this year, came out of Indiana University, member of the Hoosiers team in the Big Ten, a traditional soccer powerhouse, and a product of St. Louis, Missouri. Jansen got in. He played the second half of the game against DC, talked about getting into the game, getting a little action, and what it's like adapting to Kansas City, because you can't be a St. Louis fan if you're playing in Kansas City. If there is a heated rival for Sporting in the league now, I think St. Louis FC has passed up Houston, their traditional rival, because, I mean, they're 4 hours apart. It's right on the same road. They're on I-70, just like in years past when the Royals and the Cardinals had the I-70 series, where you're getting that in MLS between St. Louis FC and Sporting Kansas City. So Jansen gets into that a little bit and talks about the transition from the Big Ten to the MLS. A lot of change, and he's just part of the change of the team.
It was exciting. I mean, it's kind of what I've dreamed of, and it was everything and more. Obviously, would have liked to be a part of a win as my first appearance, but I felt comfortable out there. I felt like I could hold my own. But yeah, so no, it was exciting.
So any nerves when you stepped on the field?
I thought there was going to be, but I was actually like just very excited. The only nerves are like, I feel like coming on as center back at halftime is like not very normal. So it's just kind of getting your feet underneath you during the game. And I felt like I did that pretty quickly.
Was that a pre-planned move, or was that something that were you aware that might happen?
No, I have no idea. Yeah.
Did Peter or any of the coaches say anything to you specifically before you went out?
Just just play my game. You know what you can do, and just go out there and do it.
You had to be really physical against one of the most physical strikers in Benteke. You held up pretty well in that. What did you feel with your performance there?
Yeah, he's a big guy. Definitely haven't played someone that big before. But no, I felt like I did well. Obviously, he's unbelievable. But I held my own, and yeah.
Not quite the same in Big Ten soccer.
No, they say Big Ten's a pretty physical league, but I think Benteke is that's different. Yeah.
So you said you wanted to be a part of a win, but I'm sure it was still exciting for your friends and family. What were some of the messages that you got after the fact?
Some of the messages, just like that they're proud of me, just excited for me, and just kind of, I've worked very hard to get here, so just kind of saying, yeah, they're all pretty much the same, that they're proud of me.
Okay, as a fellow St. Louis girl here, do you have any friends who are like rooting for the wrong team, or are they rooting for you?
No, all my friends are rooting for me now. I got to get them my jersey. I had to wait for the debut to be able to get more jerseys, but no, it's like, I've told this story about my parents, but like they hate St. Louis. I hate St. Louis. Like, yeah, I know I'm from there, but like I'm full Kansas City now, so.
For you, coming in as a draft pick and getting a start or an appearance so early, just how do you feel like your progression has been, and what do you feel like you've done to earn that trust from the coaching staff to put you in a situation like that?
I think, it's been like a pretty smooth progression. I feel like I have to credit that to the coaches and my teammates, because I feel like they've just welcomed me with open arms and made it easy for me. I feel like maybe at other places you don't feel as comfortable, but with the coaches and the teammates just putting their trust in me and, you know, encouraging me, I feel like that's progressed me quicker than maybe I would at somewhere else.
Now, while Jansen is a new addition to the team, a welcome return is Logan Ndebe. Logan Ndebe was a key part to Sporting Kansas City's knocking off that aforementioned team, St. Louis FC, in the MLS playoffs 2 seasons ago. It really had Sporting set up on the verge to go into the championship with a great postseason and a terrific run at the end of the regular season. Gave them a feeling, hey, we can run it back. Let's try it again. And that kind of collapsed last year. So that is part of what brought about the big changes. Now, of course, Logan Ndebe tore his ACL in that winning game against St. Louis FC in the playoffs 2 seasons ago. Was a non-factor last year, but this year he is a big-time factor because with a young, healthy Logan Ndebe and Jake Davis, you're feeling pretty good with the right and left backs, and you can mix in Tim Leibold, you can mix in a Kyrie Shelton, turn that to a position of strength and be able to turn defense to offense. That's something that Logan definitely brings to the team. Here's what he said about getting back into the rhythm and back into playing heavy minutes for Sporting Kansas City.
How are you guys kind of approaching these games as they come, and what you guys are working on to try and get back to playing better football and ultimately in the win column?
I feel since the beginning of the season we get better. Like for sure, it's not easy result for us. It's difficult for us, for fans too, but I think they need to like believe in us, you know. Like we're gonna get there, we're gonna get a win for sure. We're trying to get there and starting playing better, as you can see. Mm-hmm. So I think we'll get there.
I think in 23, you had at the end of this year, you hit some really incredible heights, and then the knee injury hits, and I know last year was really tough. How do you feel like the preseason has given you like a foundation of fitness and feeling comfortable to kind of take this year head on?
Yeah, I mean off season and preseason, both of them make me feel way better, you know, because last season was just I was coming back, but my muscle was not ready for this, you know. So I feel way better, and I'm trying to be there and help the team the best I can.
What do you look forward to playing Minnesota? What do you expect from them?
We know them. They play ball behind the back. They run. They're a fast striker. So it's on us to be strong defensively. I think it's the kind of game. If you're strong defensively, we're gonna score goals, and we can take the win. You know.
A lot of, you know, before you were playing with Daniel on the left, as you'd like overlap him with Eric playing there a lot this season. Is there any difference between those two guys?
No, it's not really different, you know, like we just get to, like, I would say, know each other a little bit better on the wing, you know, because he used to play on the midfield. But it's the same for me, like whoever play in front of me, I need to do what I have to do, you know, so I think it's the same.
You said you feel like you guys have improved a little bit since the start of the year. What are you seeing that makes you feel that way?
Like the way we can now keep the ball, the way we score too, because it was difficult for us to score in the beginning of the season. The goal we scored this weekend, was really good, you know, was a good goal, collective goal, you know. So I think we're getting just better on this piece, and defensively, I think we still give, for me, easy goal, you know, because this is for me like goal that we can get away easy, but we're getting better. We just like staying better as a group, you know, on the field. So yeah.
Logan, when you feel like the performances are there, like you're playing better football, but then you're not getting the results, I know that can be really frustrating. The morale can dip. Who's responsible in the locker room right now, keeping that morale high, like making sure that everyone stays, you know, happy and positive?
Yeah, I mean, all of us who has been here for a little bit more long time, you know, we have to be there also, like, to make the new guy also understand that, okay, it's all right, it's part of the process, you know, we will get there, we will take the win. It's difficult for them, it's difficult for us too, you know, it's difficult for the coaching staff too, it's difficult for everybody. But, I mean, we're there to work and to be, like, ready. Like, the season is long, you know. Okay, it's difficult to start like this, but I think as soon as we get there and we start getting win, we will get from there, you know.
Okay, a lot of European football this week. Who's your team? Who do you follow? Are you watching Champions League, Europa League?
Oh, Madrid, this is not a question.
Oh, okay.
Real Madrid for
sure.
Yeah, they will win.
Okay.
They will win for sure.
Very good. root for Mbappe, I see. Yeah, okay, there we go.
And now, as we wrap up that loss to DC, look forward to the game against Minnesota United coming up this Saturday here at Children's Mercy Park in Kansas City, Kansas. Let's hear from head coach Peter Vermees as he continues, saying, hey, you got to keep the faith. It's going to take a while. He likes the direction the team's going. It's just a lot of change. It's going to take some time. Like we said last week, the team had less practices than you can count on your hands this season because of all the games, adding in the CONCACAF and then multiple road games. So they're finally getting a chance to kind of feel familiar. The weather's turning, so it's actually helping them and letting some of the players who aren't exactly used to cold climates get used to playing here and getting things integrated. Here's Peter.
I think what is incredibly important is two things. One is you have to be truthful about your evaluation, right? You can't hide things and just keep saying all these things are okay. So you got to deal with the things that are the reality, and then you also have to then look at your progression. And I think there's two parts of the progression. There's first day of preseason to the end of preseason, and then first day when we started our first game in MLS until now, and where are we? And there's a lot of progress, and that's not me trying to be positive, but there's still this area of we have these moments of whether it's team or individual lack of concentration when we're in really good positions, like we're leading the game, and then we give the other team an opportunity that really should be an elementary way of dealing with it for us. And so again, you have to be honest with yourself. So you have to look at those, talk about them, why, and then you have to go work on them. And at the same time, you got to keep progressing and see where you're actually really playing well and what you're doing well. And you got to keep building from there. And it's not an easy tit for tat, because you can get completely focused on the negative and stay in the negative. Whereas you also got to look at, we have a group of guys that are now with the team that didn't even spend any time with us in preseason, and we're using now to kind of get them built into the team. And I've been very forthright on this, and it's not an excuse. It's just reality. We are in this area of building a new group of guys, and that's why. And there'll be more coming. And as that's happening, there's going to be little ups and downs, and there's going to be some mistakes, but we're going to have to keep fighting through that. I don't know how else to do it any other way, by the way.
Yeah, Jansen, kind of going those new guys. Jansen Miller comes in as a draft pick. You guys give him his debut. Was that a pre-planned sub? And two,
no.
What?
Danny went out. His ankle is still bothering him. And look, that doesn't help either, right? Usually on your back line, you want to stay consistent. If there's one place in the field you want to stay consistent, your goalkeeper and your back line. We have not had that yet in any of our games because of different reasons. They're easy. Like, guys are injured, or they got some problem, or a guy gets yellow cards, puts himself in a really bad situation early. There's different reasons why, and those also have to be eliminated with it as well, because you do need consistency in the back. When you have that, because if you look at our 3 games, we've had to take out a central defender in each of the games, which exposes our team into a time in the game when the game's it's hanging on a knife's edge. And you need the consistency, and unfortunately, you're asking now that guy to go in there and now take on the responsibility of being up to the pace of the game at that moment. Now, again, they're professionals, and we got to be able to do that. But we're also we have a very small margin at the moment until we get over the hump.
Jansen gets that call for you guys to come in that moment. What have you seen from him over since you guys have brought him in that you felt like he's earned that debut?
Until he got injured prior to I think it was the second leg of the Miami series. Until he got injured there, or maybe it was the Austin game. I can't remember. It was I think it was Austin. It was the Austin game. Yeah. He was probably our best central defender in preseason. I think he's got really good instincts in the position. Much more athletic than we thought. Better on the ball than we thought. Good 1v1 defender. That part we knew. And again, you only gain those things by working with people. And then all of a sudden, he's got a really good attitude. He has a really good attitude. I think those all could translate into something, into a career in MLS, which I say this, I don't say this lightly, right? Because I think it's harder and harder for guys to come out of college and then make it into MLS. And he has a pathway to do that. But I think it has a lot to do with his mentality and his attitude.
You say you may have been your best central defender coming out of preseason. I mean, do you expect that to still be the case with, experienced guys like Rosero and Fernandez out there?
Well, but they're not. They're not consistently, and that's the issue. We need consistency from our back four, and we just don't have that now. A lot of it has been due to the fact that there's been injuries. Why I can't, it's not something we're doing in training. Just different things are happening to different guys, but we need a consistency, and that's what has to happen. I don't know who that's going to be, because really you need guys to be available and then to play regularly, and then hopefully they win and take the job.
Coach, with so many new players coming into the mix, you had some veterans departing after last season who had been here for a while. Who have you seen really step up, especially when, hey, these performances, these moments have been good, but the results aren't quite there yet? Who's kind of been keeping the tone and the positivity?
I think Tommy's been really good. And I say that, and I'll say this. He hasn't played to his level that we've seen him at. Mm-hmm. He knows that. We've talked about it. But he also has kept really good discipline within our game plan, within the aspects that he has to help contribute to the team. But the one thing that has not dropped for him at all is his work ethic in the game. Mm-hmm. And he's taken on a different sort of responsibility within the game. And so his mentality has been really good. And he sees, if you talk with him, he sees the progression, because he's been here before and now he's here and there's new guys that have come in. They don't know that, and they have a different perspective, right? And you're trying to merge everybody together, but you're trying to push them forward to not think about other things and just stay focused on what's ahead of you. The good thing is a lot of the new guys, they've seen a progression in their short period of time here, and I think that's incredibly uplifting for those guys, because they feel it, right? And they're experiencing it. It's some of the other guys that still have to kind of get on with that. And some of it is you have to play, and some of it is you have to have a contribution. And I get that as well, but we also have only played 3 games in the scheme of the league.
They've seen and you've seen a progression for those guys. What's that next step in that progression?
We have to get a result. We have to have the performance get a result. That's a big part of it. It always is. I mean, you need to get a result to make or to solidify what you're doing is really good, and we've got to do that, and a lot of it is going to have to do with the way that we continue to defend in games, and we just got to get better with that.
Is it maybe the emotions or the feelings or the attitude different from the new guys to the guys who have been here and maybe suffered a little bit the last couple of years?
Sure. I think human nature is that you can you relate back to experiences, and a lot of times you relate back to the ones you've just had, and that's why sometimes it's hard to change those people over, and you have to bring some freshness and newness into the team, a different motivation, a different excitement, and I think those guys are helping with that.
And when I talked to Shalwi before the season, he spoke about Dayon. He was a guy who's won, and he can show how to go win a cup. Is that kind of why you went and got? I mean, obviously his talent, but is that why you brought in some of those guys?
I mean, that all helps, but look, there's been a lot of players that have come here and never have won before, and we've won with them. So I don't. Yeah, that's a good piece to have, but I think it's more of the player, what he can do, how he can help us, how we see him in our team, just everything about him, his work ethic, his approach every day. I think that's more important to the team than anything else, because he comes out every day. He's very focused on what he does. There's no waste in what he does during his approach, his game, all of that. He's very focused on one very specific thing, and you can see that in the games. And him, and even in this last game, the way we moved the team around a little bit, him and Manu already are getting better and better and better with their connection between each other. And that took a little time when he was trying to do that with Pooch in LA, but these guys are moving really quickly. It's good to see.
Just the right back spot, I'm just curious, Kyrie, Andrew Brody, where are they at? And I know saw Brody listed as out. How long will he be out?
It's a hard one. I would say it's a couple weeks more. but it could go faster. Kai should be in training this week, and we hope to have him available for this upcoming weekend.
We saw Tim Leibold ended up picking up a knock. How serious?
I think he's back in training as well this week.
I know it's early in the week, but what do you expect from Minnesota?
Incredibly difficult to break down. The way that they defend, they really don't provide a lot, and they're a very opportunistic team. Different goals that they have scored, and then you have to be very, very careful on set pieces with them. Just because, I mean, if they get into your half, they're throwing the long throw, and they're putting the pressure on you from that perspective. So you have to be very, very organized, very solid, and this is what I talk about, details. Those are the important aspects.
So Sporting Kansas City taking the pitch this Saturday night against Minnesota United. That's going to be interesting because we want to get rolling. This is a team that has lost 10 straight matches 2 years in a row. They need to stop that. A win would be huge to get things moving in the right direction. Now, obviously, the CONCACAF doesn't necessarily count because it's a different competition, but you don't want to get on that string. You don't want to feel like, oh man, here it comes again. Be nice to see the new players get in rhythm, get on the front foot, and get a win against Minnesota at home. On the other hand, we have the Kansas City Current, and the Current just seems like it's rising. They finished really strong last year, just couldn't overcome Orlando. Some injuries really kind of set them back in the playoff run. They've been healthy during the preseason. They got to add the experience of Michelle Cooper and Claire Hutton playing for the U.S. national team in the She Believes Cup. We had a chance to talk with the two U.S. national team members, Michelle Cooper and Claire Hutton, key impact players for the Current. Michelle Cooper up front on a wing and Claire Hutton in the midfield. See what they said about going into this season and the excitement about having another season opener at CPKC Stadium.
With your message to fans for the opener.
Yeah, I think we're so excited to be back at home, and then to play Portland for the third year in a row for a home opener is just so exciting because we know how last year was. It was fun, and being back in our own stadium is always exciting, and to spend the time with fans and hopefully put on a good game is the goal.
Yeah, same thing. I think last year we showed the fans, we showed everyone what we're all about, and this year we're just taking it a step up, so we're excited to celebrate, win, and through the whole season just be with you guys all, and home opener is going to be a blast, so Saturday, here we come.
How do you take what you guys learned on the national team back home to Kansas City?
Yeah, I think that's such a tough environment to go into, and personally, for me, I won't speak for Claire, but I think I learned a lot and how to take a backseat kind of and learn from the players who have been there for a while. And one thing is go through the ups and downs, and I think throughout a season, especially a season as long as we have and a league as competitive as we are, to go with the ups and downs is super important, because we know last year we were successful, but we can't live off that this year.
Yeah, I think the same thing similarly. When you go into the national team environment, it's the best of the best, so just to be in that space, not even on the field, but just off the field, learning how to recover, learning how to get better every single day, and just having the 2 days in between each game when we were there, you just really have to focus on your body and recovery like that. And then going to the season here, now playing again with some of the best of the world, it's the same exact thing, and taking what we learned there on the field, off the field, bringing it back here and pushing each other every single day is just going to be huge.
You guys mentioned it's 3 years in a row running in Portland for the home opener. Last year's was very different. I'm curious, what do you think will be different about this year, not having the hype of it being the first game at CPKC surrounding it?
I think it'll still be a fun game. I mean, for me personally, I was up in the stands last year because I was injured. So I think being part of the game is going to be so exciting, because the first game of the year, being a home opener, is always so fun. And to be able to look back on what we did last year and even the first game of the year, it was so exciting. And just to have that energy, even though it's not the first game at CPKC Stadium, to have it be the first game of the season after what we did last year is really exciting.
Yeah, just to second that, last year was my debut, my professional debut. So just now knowing I'm going into this game a little bit more comfortable, knowing what to expect is feeling a lot better, just less nerves, all of that. So I'm just excited to go out there, fresh new start with this new team. Obviously we have new players, so we're looking forward to seeing them on the field. And it's going to be fun, just setting the standard. I think last year obviously we did set a standard, but this year we're taking it up another notch, and we're here to show you what we're all about now.
You guys talked about those new additions to the team. I'm just curious, how do you see the team different, have different qualities, different something to it from what you had last year?
I wouldn't say it's different. I think bringing new people in is always a great thing. They push the standard, they push the boundaries, and we know that we're always going to have a competitive and fierce team, and that's the great thing about us is one of us comes off the field, the next person that comes on isn't like, oh yes, we get a break. It's going to get worse. It's going to get harder for the opponent. And I think that's the big game-changing part of our team, and that's the importance of the new girls in this year. And I'm excited because they've really bought into this environment thus far. So to be able to finally have them play at CPKC Stadium, it's super exciting because that environment is like no other.
She said that great. I think the same thing she said, like buying into the team and buying into our environment and what we're all about is huge, and I think they're doing that, and I think everybody here is ready to go out, give it their all. We die for each other, we work for each other, so you're going to see that on Saturday. You're going to see it at CPKC Stadium. You're going to see it in our Teal Town kits in other stadiums, so just get ready for it. It's going to be fun, and yeah.
Looking at Portland, obviously a fierce opponent always. Their roster looks a little bit different, some injuries, some life happenings, but how much is this match about you guys?
All of it. I mean, at the end of the day, we play every game for us to better our season on. And of course, we look at the opponents and we want to know what they're going to do, their strategies, who they're going to play, what they're going to look like. But I think at the end of the day, it's most important that we stick to who we are because that's what's going to make us most successful.
Yeah, again, like Blacko said in some meetings, last year as we said, we set the standard. And there's going to be things we see this year that other teams take from us. One of the things we talked about is the collapsing in the midfield. And you're going to see other teams do that, but we started that. We showed that that is so effective, and that's how we dominate teams. So it's cool just to see like other teams are taking stuff from us and putting it into their game. And to know that we started that, we're setting these standards, not even just for the league, but for international football as it is. You'll see it this year, and it's going to be really cool to see.
What's different about the team this year compared to last year?
Obviously personnel, but I do think we now have a base. We have a foundation because last year it was kind of a shock to everyone because we had new staff, we had a rotation of players, rotation of team, and this year now we have that comfortability outside of a couple players, which is super exciting because what we did last year was based off of nothing, and now we have something to base that off of. We have played at home, we've played at CPKC Stadium, and all of these familiarities I think are going to make the season a lot better for us. So now it's like figuring out the little things.
We've got time for two more.
Claire, Michelle, one quick one in the back here. Looking at Portland specifically, just what sorts of things have you noticed for them in some of your early scout and things that you're looking that will present a challenge, I guess, on Saturday from your end?
Portland's a good team. I mean, historically, it doesn't matter. Like Jillian said, they have their life happenings, they have injuries, just like all teams have, but they're still a good team, and they've always been a good team. They're a great organization, and to know that we've played them 3 years in a row now for the home opener. They're coming for blood. And I think any team that we play at home is going to be coming for blood, especially after last season. So knowing that, it doesn't matter who they put on the field, they are ready to play. And I think that's important for us to make sure that we're ready to bring it back.
Knowing those teams are coming for you, does that make you smile or?
Yeah, definitely. I think simply put, yes, because like we love the pressure. And last year, obviously there was a lot of pressure on us because our 23 season was really disappointing, simply put, and we wanted to redeem ourselves, and now that we did, we have a huge standard to live up to, and we're just going to have to go one game at a time, but it is something to smile at for sure.
Like Michelle and Claire said, they're looking forward to taking the pitch against the Portland Thorns. The third straight season they've opened up against Portland, just kind of a quirk in the schedule. The match gets underway at 11:45 a.m. Central Time, 12:45 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can see it nationwide on ABC. Big way to get started. The Current should have a tremendous offensive team this year. They added Lorena, easily one of the best goalkeepers in the world, which should really improve the defensive footing along with the late acquisitions last year, Kayla Sharples and Alana Cook, getting to spend the whole training season with the current and really getting to set in that defensive formation. Head coach Vlatko talked about the challenges and being able to get ready and get back at it here in Kansas City.
Match day one on the schedule. Just, I know it's been a long preseason. I'm sure there's the feelings, the excitement, the anticipation for Saturday's game.
It's amazing. I mean, we did so much work, and preseason gets tiring sometimes and overwhelming, and fatigue kicks in the middle of it, and all of it throughout the whole time. All we think about is this moment, the first game on Saturday. Obviously, we're preparing for the season, but it's the Saturday game that everybody is thinking about every time they step on the field in the first 7-8 weeks of preseason, and we're excited about it and can't wait. So we're looking forward to it.
Last year there was so much hype and build up to that first game and all of that. Same opponent, almost the same time as kickoff too. I'm just curious, what will be different about it this time, and how will that matter?
I mean, for us, makes no difference. It's another season game. It's a home opener. It's the first game at the stadium this year, so we're approaching it exactly the same. The importance of it is the same. Obviously, last year there was a hype because of the stadium, and it played out very well for us. So we're hoping for the same outcome.
It's become almost like a tradition to open the season against Portland. How does that sort of set the stage for the season?
I mean, I don't know if it becomes a tradition. I don't know why it's happening. It wasn't our choice by any means. It's a league thing, but it doesn't matter who it is. We're preparing to be the best that we can be, and we're preparing to open up the season in the right way. And whether it's Portland or someone else is not going to make any difference for us.
And you have such a talented roster. Like every position, there are so many different options. How difficult is it going to be for you to pick who the starters are?
It is very difficult. It's not easy to be on this side, and we understand that, but in the same time, more difficult it is. Sometimes it's nicer. I would rather have more option or extra options than not having options at all.
Don't have a lot of new field players, but how have you been able to integrate them, and then you have a whole new crop of keepers?
Yes, the new players, or a couple of new players that came in, we've tried to implement them as much as we can, or try to integrate them on the team as much as we can, and they've done a tremendous job so far. We have no doubt that they're going to be on the same page once the season starts, or once we start playing games. It's with the goalkeepers, it's a little bit easier because they're not directly involved in everything that we do. Obviously, in the build-up from goalkeeper, from the back, they're important. But then once the game progresses or advances towards the opponent's goal, they don't have as much impact. But they've been great as well.
You said in preseason, you said you were building on the foundation from last year, just adding new layers. Did you get all the layers in you wanted to?
I mean, it's a process. You get to a certain level, and then you want more, you want better, and that's just the coaches in us that we're going to continuously pushing for more and pushing for better. I think that once we start playing a few games, we'll see how it works, and if we're going to have to spend more time on the things that we worked on, or things that we wanted to implement, or we can move forward.
How does this team this year differ from last year's?
Can you explain exactly?
In what ways is this team different than what you had last year?
I don't think it's much different. When first the turnover of players was not too big. I mean, we were able to re-sign a lot of players from last year, and most of them were under contracts as well, so that helped, that we can have some consistency in what we're trying to do last year, but also continuity.
What qualities has maybe do you think has changed by changing what you have of the team's makeup?
So the first thing is there is one quality that you cannot have unless the time passes by, and that's the experience. So we are more experienced, 1 year more experience. We are more experience in terms of time spending together. We're more experienced in terms of coaches, same coaches, the same group of coaches working with the same group of players. But on top of that, with the players that we added, we just added a little more versatility and more depth as well, more depth.
Last season, almost every game at home, I think every game at home was a sold-out crowd. How does that help going into a new season?
Having the crowd and the stadium, the environment that the crowd creates for us is something that cannot be explained. Like how much that helps the players and how much they wanna play in our stadium, and how much of a boost that is. It's hard to explain. Sometimes when I'm on the side, I mean, there's a feeling of like I want to be on the field. There's so much energy and so much intensity coming from the side that everyone wants to be part of it.
How have you seen Claire and Michelle really grow from their national team experiences offseason?
I don't know if there's a growth from the national team experiences. Usually the growth is here, and then they're able to translate that on the national team, or the growth that they get here gets them on the national team. But there are obviously experiences that they bring there that we hope will help them grow in the times in the future months.
Just going to ask about Temwa. I mean, 20 goals last year, MVP. But I think over the course of last year, you saw her improve her game as the season went on. What have you seen from her so far in preseason, and the type of impact she can make again this year?
I think that it's actually very interesting. We spent a little bit of time last week analyzing Temwa and some of the things that she does different compared to the beginning of the season, and I think she's a little more sophisticated. Her timings on the runs and the spaces that she pops up are a lot better, and I don't know how they will translate once we start playing regular games, but I hope that she's able to get to and to get in dangerous areas and score as many goals as she did last year, maybe even more. Who knows?
All right, Coach, last one from me. What is your message to the fans for the home opener?
Message to the fans. I mean, I will be short and say if we can replicate what we had last year for the home opener, I think it's gonna be something that we would love to see, and something that we're gonna be thankful, and we're gonna be able to use on the field. So the energy, the enthusiasm, the intensity, everything that they bring on the stands, we're gonna be able to use and replicate on the field.
Piece missing from what you'll see in the regular lineup for the Current is international star Bia. She is still getting ready to come back from that late season injury. She should be cleared though any day, and that would really allow them to play at full force, because you really only saw that for a little bit last year in that record-setting offensive season, with Temwa Chawinga, of course, scoring a goal against each team, winning the Golden Boot. There's no reason to think that's not going to continue, because they are loaded on the offensive side and really should be in a just tremendous position to dominate offensively. So we'll be able to continue following the Current as they try to get back into the semifinals and then advance and make it into that championship game, the NWSL championship, because really this season, I think anything short of the semifinals would be a disappointment. And if you ask the players, anything short of the championship is probably a disappointment. They really, really are a confident team as they head into this season. Going to be a lot of competition, though, and we'll be able to follow it right here on Sports TV Plus. You can catch us on the True TV Plus app, on Sports.tv, on Carbon TV, and on TCL Plus. We appreciate everybody watching and sharing the content. Check us out. Go ahead and download that True TV Plus app, and stay tuned for more on the KC Soccer Report right here on Sports TV Plus. Gerald Bentley, thanks a lot for joining us. See you on the pitch.